the 06010.
What's good, friends? Welcome into Fantasy Focus, presented by Little Caesars. My name is Daniel Dopp, alongside Field Yates and Mike Clay. We are here to give you a big Friday show. We got a Thursday Night Football recap. Heck of a Thursday night game.
Yeah, baby.
Also, we got our Week 7 preview part 2, as we always do, and we're going to get into our starts of the week as usual. But first and foremost, honestly, we're starting a little bit late here. We had some technical difficulties here at the mothership, so we're going to dive right into football because there's one thing that I noticed from yesterday. It's that Joe Flacco understood the assignment.
Damn right he did.
That was one, like, that was my big takeaway. How about we just pepper our superstars with the football over and over? Chase got 38.1 fantasy points.
Heyo.
Is that a lot? That seems like a lot.
T. Higgins had 21.6. This was everything that we were looking for from a passing game perspective, it felt like, with Joe Flacco under center field.
Mike, you ready to give him some respect or no?
Yeah, I tweeted out hashtag elite last night, so I gave him the respect he deserves.
Wow. Listen, one of us in this podcast, has been a very fervent Joe Flacco backer for quite some time now. As a matter of fact, like one of us picked the Bengals to win yesterday. So 33-31.
Yes.
Hello. Thank you very much. You're welcome. It was actually amazing because there was a play. So Jamar Chase had a catch in the end zone that was initially ruled a touchdown, and it was very clearly a drop. He didn't complete the process of a catch. And you're thinking to yourself, like, that's frustrating. On the very next play, Flacco right back to Jamar Chase on a great touchdown catch. He ends up with 16 catches for 161 yards and a touchdown, did Jamar Chase. And it felt like the Bengals were running 5 plays last night. One of which was Joe Flacco in the shotgun, Jamar Chase just running like a 15-yard out route on Jalen Ramsey and just keep throwing him the football on that exact same route over and over and over again. So the hope when they traded for Joe Flacco was that there was a chance, maybe not a great chance, maybe not a perfect chance, but a chance that he could resuscitate the value of Jamar Chase. 2 games with Jamar Chase. The first one, as we discussed yesterday, pretty much all garbage time for that 10-catch, 95-yard, 1-touchdown game. They were down 10-0 last night, and Jamar Chase did score a touchdown 10-0. But in a game in which they had the lead for a lot of it, Jamar Chase went for his second-best game of the year. He is back.
How many targets did he end up having in this
23.
one? 23 targets.
Third most in a game ever.
A lot of guys won't have that this season. It's just an incredible number. So
Derrick Henry over under 23 targets.
Yeah, exactly.
This season.
Probably under at this point. He'll be close to it. Look, you guys give me a hard time all the time for, not liking the older players, right? Well, the younger quarterback got it done last night. Okay?
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Youth is important.
Yes,
and
it
it
is.
Came through. The younger quarterback
both
got the W. So it was incredible. I think that a lot of times throughout that game, I wasn't thinking like, man, Joe Flacco's like doing something extraordinary. A lot of times I was thinking, what are the Steelers doing? Like, the running lanes for Jazz, we'll get to, Chase Brown were wide open.
Yep.
The wide receivers were wide open. I mean, there was times where the Bengals needed to get the ball to the sideline to get out of bounds, and they weren't even covering the sideline. It was just easy. It was just easy for them. So I think there's obviously the Bengals offense and the fantasy impact on their skill guys is the top story, but also like we've got to shake our heads a little bit about the Steelers defense moving forward because that was wild.
I really felt like, and you said they basically called 5 plays last night.
Yeah.
Like watching the Bengals was like watching me play Madden against a team that I know that's better than me. I'm going to keep running the same 5 plays over and over. And sooner or later in Madden, the defense figures it out and they adjust. Steelers didn't figure it out. They were able to. Bengals just kept doing the same thing over and over last night.
23 targets for Jamar Chase. So Jamar Chase was incredible last night. Joe Flacco, in case you did start him in a super flex league, which this guy had to, and I did.
No way.
Yeah, against our buddy Damien in our Dynasty League.
Love
Lamar
that.
for me this week, and my 4 quarterbacks are Lamar, Joe Flacco, Aaron Rodgers, and Mac Jones, who Mac might start on Sunday night, but I didn't know for sure. So I started both of the old men last night, and I ended up with like almost 50 points combined between those two. So they took care of business. Chase Brown was good last night. He had 11 carries for 108 yards, so nearly 10 yards a pop for Chase Brown. He had yet to have a 20-yard rush this season. He had multiple last night, so he looked great as well. Much more like the player that we drafted in the second round in a lot of leagues this year. And the Steelers, other than DK Metcalf, were actually kind of to expectation, right? Jaylen Warren was excellent last night, 137 total yards for Jaylen Warren. Rodgers was a potential streaming option for some people. He had nearly 23 fantasy points. So all around, like a lot of fantasy points in a game that we thought might be much more of a grinded out AFC North type of game.
Yeah, let me talk about these running backs more. Snaps, we talked yesterday about how the gap was closing.
54-46?
It was 45-27 in favor of Chase Brown.
That was last week.
So the gap widened a little bit in this game. Chase Brown was playing a little bit better. I do wonder if this is something that's going to be sustainable. He only had 11 carries, and he's been hanging around that number. Did have big running lanes to work through, played pretty well, but he had -8 yards and 4 targets in this game.
Yeah.
He is now averaging 13.4 receiving yards per game. That's less than half of what he averaged when he was the lead back last season. So a little worried about overall volume for him still, and I wonder if this is going to be sustainable going forward. As for Jaylen Warren, now 13+ fantasy points in 4 of 5 games this season, at least 59 yards in every game. If we ignore week 6 when he came back from injury and played just about half the snaps, he has 18+ touches in 3 straight now. So, he's found his way into that fringe RB1 conversation, and I'm more confident in him than I am Chase Brown, despite the fact that it seemed like Brown was a little flashier last night, but Warren just got the job done play after play, and had a long touchdown taken away on a penalty.
On a holding call on Zach Frazier, the center. Warren has just been, I would say he has punched above the expected weight that I had for him as a lead rusher. The Steelers have been very judicious over the past few years. Obviously, Najee Harris has been the bigger workhorse for them. And I thought maybe part of the calculus there was Warren's just not the kind of guy that you really want to be rushing 15 to 20 times per game. He has proved me wrong, perhaps proved the Steelers wrong as well. He has been excellent for them.
Well, they did draft Caleb Johnson, so we assumed he would step into that role, but it became pretty apparent in August that wasn't going to be the case. And then it was like, okay, we have to recalibrate our opinion on this backfield. It's probably going to be the Warren show. And here we are.
DK Metcalf had 5 targets again, guys. Remember how I came in saying, is the production going to be able to keep up with the volume?
He's touchdown dependent.
This week, it's
no two ways about it.
Yeah, and you know who caught all the touchdowns in this freaking game?
Freiermuth.
Tight ends.
All the tight ends. Pat Freiermuth had 2, and then you had Jonnu Smith that had 1, and Darnell Washington found the end zone.
Plus,
Arthur Smith doesn't know how to do anything. Yes. Other than utilize tight ends for us in fantasy football.
Immediately Googles who are the tight ends.
No, he doesn't know how to. He spreads it all out amongst the 4 tight ends.
You're right. Actually, when he had
Connor Hayward had an end zone target, it's not helpful for us. It doesn't help us.
You're right.
If he did it to 1 or maybe 2, it could be helpful, but this is not helpful.
Did you see the play last night where the Steelers threw? It wasn't like a fade in the end zone, but it was sort of like a fade down the left sideline to Darnell Washington.
Yes.
And Rodgers just kind of floated it up there. Yeah. And it was still like ugly. 7 yards past where Darnell Washington was. Like, he is probably the best blocking tight end in the NFL. I don't think I'm scheming up too many more fades for him, unless they're from the 1 yard line.
As someone who started 3 Steelers against you in the FF Now League, I was furious about some of those calls,
I can understand
including
why.
DK Metcalf. So
he's huge though. When you just watch him on the field next to some of the cornerbacks, he's gigantic. It's very fun.
That applies to Metcalf and Washington.
Any other big takeaways as we move forward from this Thursday night football game?
Who is winning the AFC North this year?
Nobody. No one is winning it.
I think the
I'd
Ravens.
I'd be curious with the number. I was thinking about figuring that
out.
Has the number adjusted since last night? I'm sure it has.
It's plus something, but I don't know what that number is. But.
So there was a part of me yesterday that picked the Bengals, and like just to sort of not agree with you guys. I also picked them because this is what the Steelers do. They play with their food, and they just find ways to not win games they should win. Sometimes they win games they shouldn't win, in my opinion. But this was a classic Steelers letdown game. So the Steelers still up in the division. They're 4-2. The Bengals are 3-4. That being said, Cincinnati, next 2 weeks, playing at home. I believe it's the Jets and the Bears the next 2 weeks for Cincy before their bye.
How about the Steelers next game?
I don't know who that is.
Sunday Night Football against the Green Bay Packers.
Ooh.
Aaron Rodgers.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's going to be fun next Sunday night.
They'll
probably win that game because it feels like they should have.
Yes.
Yeah, Roger. But this is 2 weeks in a row, by the way, where the opposing, like the losing head coach, and even in this case, I'll include Aaron Rodgers, just like kind of stunned about what was happening. Like Sean McVay, same thing that whole game. It was just like, he's like, how are we not dominating
what's happening here?
And I felt like the Steelers were the same way. Rodgers would get them down the field, score a touchdown, and then the defense would just let them go right back. And he's just like, man, how are we still down 10 points? We can't keep up. And it doesn't check out. It just doesn't make sense. But that's the fun of the NFL.
Last thought before we get into our previews. I know Rodgers told Pat McAfee, whatever it was, 3-4 months ago, like this is probably his last season. He's playing like a guy that could keep going. That's for sure. And you can't tell me.
He has the arm.
He's got to be in the, I'd say somewhere around like the 20th best quarterback right now in the NFL. Maybe a little bit lower than that, but he's not like this is not a bottom 5 quarterback who's
Definitely
playing
not.
because there are 32 jobs available and not 32 qualified starters.
I agree with you on that, 100%. I just want to give Mike.
That might be better than that. But I got to look at that closely. But
I want to give Mike just a little bit of love.
The 20th.
Just a tiny bit,
like this
because you
part.
did talk about how DK Metcalf was going to get a little bit of a shadow here. We ended up seeing the guy that shadowed him come down with a sick interception in the game. So I just want to give you a little bit of props on that one.
He did a good job on him. That's part of why Metcalf was not the first read often, because he was just glued to Jay Turner, who's quickly emerged as one of the league's better shadow corners. So we'll be talking about him more going forward.
All right, let's dive into our Week 7 preview, Part 2. Check out yesterday's show if you want to have Part 1 of our Week 7 preview. Field, I'm going to let you lead us off here. What's your first topic?
Is Jackson Dart a top 12 fantasy quarterback?
This week against Denver?
No.
Tell you what, this is the week, though, where he either puts himself into that conversation or he comes back down to earth a little bit. He has now started 3 games, has Jackson Dart. He's quarterback 9 over those 3 games with just over 59 fantasy points, 19.67 fantasy points per game so far for Jackson Dart in his 3 starts. Why? Mostly because they are running the football a lot with Jackson Dart. That is a cheat code in fantasy. But as Daniel Dopp reminded us very clearly last Friday at this time, the Broncos have a problem with opposing running quarterbacks.
You weren't here on Friday. You guys were out at the game, so we did the Thursday podcast.
I think didn't they say that to Liz?
Oh no, I think I said it to you guys.
No.
It doesn't matter. Either way.
We talked about it.
Whatever. Yeah. Okay. As Daniel reminded us last Thursday, the Broncos have a problem with opposing running quarterbacks, as in they don't like them very much, and they mitigate their rushing in a very notable way, including 31 rushing yards last week for Justin Fields, probably a top 5 at worst rushing quarterback in the entire NFL. So if Jackson Dart is not able to run as effectively this week, then it definitely puts a ceiling on his fantasy value. He is not inside my top 12 for fantasy quarterbacks this week. I am very excited for this game because have you guys seen all the trash talking these 2 teams are doing on social media right now?
I have not.
I have not seen that.
I don't know exactly who started it. I know that Nick Bonito started or tweeted and then deleted something, which I'm like, dude, you might be the best defensive player in the NFL. You can tweet whatever you want right now. Abdul Carter's gotten in on the mix. Like a lot of guys are chiming. Kayvon Thibodeau.
What a random.
So a lot of there's no love lost between these 2 teams right now. Can't wait for this game, but I've got Dart not in my top 12 for quarterback.
Do they have bad blood between each other?
I don't think so. I think it's probably a classic. The Giants are starting to play a little bit better.
Yeah, getting a little sassy.
This is a good test. So I don't exactly know the roots of the beef, but I think the Broncos do win this game kind of ugly, but I don't have Jackson Dart as a top 12 quarterback.
Can I give you a nugget too on Jackson Dart? I just wanted to show a little history here on what he's been doing as a rusher, and it's not sustainable. He's 55 plus rushing yards in 3 straight games. In the last decade, fellas, there are only 11 instances of a quarterback with 50 plus rushing yards in 4 straight games.
I'm going to go with Lamar 8 times.
Lamar is 6 of them. The other ones are Fields, Hurts, Cam Newton, Josh Allen, Kyler Murray. So
that checks out.
Jackson Dart may be a plus rusher, but for him to keep doing it at the level he's been doing it is not sustainable. It's just not going to happen.
If he gets 55 plus rushing yards in this game, he will have more rushing yards than every quarterback that has played the Denver Broncos so far this year. Combined. Yes. And at that point, I think we would be saying, okay, if he can do this against the Broncos, he probably is a top 12 quarterback because of what he can do with his legs.
You guys realize the Broncos have 10 more sacks than any other team this year?
Yeah, they're on pace for 80.
Incredible.
85.
They have 30, and the next
they're on pace
team
for
is
85.
20.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Wow.
Yeah.
Insane.
Wow. All right. Mike, where are you going with this next one?
First one for me, fellas, is tight ends. I feel like this is becoming a weekly
We're going to have to play the game where we say stop?
No, we're not going to do that. We're just going to talk about a few tight ends. Stop. Yeah, okay. All right. I'm done then. You move on. I'm done.
All right, Dan, your first thought.
All right, one of the things I'm going to talk about is Go ahead.
All right, we're going to talk about 3 tight ends. We're going to start with Michael Mayer here. So Mayer in week 6 paced the Raiders with 7 targets, played a career high 91.2% of the snaps. I had to go to the decimal place because there was one where he was 91.1 in his rookie year. It was a close one.
Decimal points.
But
a lot of talking
he got
about
there.
Decimals.
Yeah, he got over the top.
Checks out.
50 yards and a touchdown on 5 catches at 16 fantasy points, also a career high. They're playing the Chiefs, which if you're setting your lineup, it might look like a tough matchup, but they just haven't faced much tight end volume. So I'm not really worried about that. They've allowed an 88% catch rate to tight ends this season. So Michael Mayer.
I think in the month of I think it's appropriate during the month of October. He should actually be Michael Myers.
We're gonna call him that.
Not
this
Michael
week.
Mayer.
Yeah, he is a startable tight end. We all have him ranked as a fringe streaming option. So if you need a tight end, you're a Brock Bowers guy, you might need him. So Mayer, I have at tight end 11.
Okay.
Next one, Dallas Goedert. I think is worth
26 fantasy points last week.
Yes, he is a very interesting conversation. I have him 6th this week. I think he's going to be fine in a game where Minnesota's they've allowed 3 touchdowns to tight ends so far, 6 most yards. Like tight ends haven't had trouble against them. But the more interesting conversation is this sustainable for Goddard going forward? What he's doing. So already matched a career high with 5 touchdowns this season. Leads the Eagles with 20 targets over the last 2 weeks, which is why we feel comfortable at least starting him. But he has 1 end zone target, and his expected touchdown total, remember, he has 5 touchdowns, is 2.1, which suggests that's not going to continue. He's cleared 45 yards in 1 game so far this season. But again, he has a 23% target share and a good offense for the most part. So I think we're still starting him.
Run that back. In a what offense?
It's a good offense.
In an offense. In an NFL offense.
It's still it might not be as elite as last year, but it's still a good offense. So,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I trust they will rebound. But I think that Goddard as a set it and forget it lineup block tight end going forward might not sustain itself, but for this week, we're gonna keep starting him.
He's been in that touchdown dependent range, right? He's had 4 touchdowns in 5 touchdowns in 4 weeks.
Yes.
Yeah. So
he was
like
out of game too. Yeah, he missed a game.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah. So he's been odd. So again, we're starting him this week, but again, something to keep an eye on if he's your tight end 1 right now. Don't put all your eggs in that basket. I think he's going to return to earth pretty soon. Okay. Last one, guys, is a guy going the other direction, Juwan Johnson. Weeks 1 through 3, exactly. Weeks 1 through 3, he was the number 2 scoring fantasy tight end. Had a 28 targets, a 24% target share.
Yep.
Last 3 games, he's 39th in fantasy points. He has a total of 9 targets. That's an 11% share. Has 0 touchdowns on 7 catches during the span. Guys, he's never finished the season with a target share above 14%. So you have to think he's going to come back to earth here as he has the last few weeks. You also have Taysom Hill, who's really a running back at this point, but takes away opportunities from the other guys. And, of course, Foster Moreau, who always gets a handful of targets as well. The matchup this week, Chicago, I mean, I don't think he can be anywhere near lineups. I mean, I dropped him in a couple of leagues. Yeah. So just kind of a note here. This guy was a tight end 1, but if you felt like through week 3, I have my starter now, that's long gone.
Yes.
That's long gone.
Agreed. I'm with you on that, unfortunately. All right, I'm going to dive into a couple more pass catchers here.
Alrighty.
I'm going to talk about some wide receivers, though, because I want to talk about the Chargers taking on the Colts this week.
Okay.
Quentin Johnson was limited in practice on Wednesday, ended up practicing in full on Thursday. Seems like he's going to be a full go, so not worried about there.
Okay.
But he's ranked lower than he was before the dud that he had last week. I want to ask you guys kind of a little bit about how we're looking at this Chargers wide receiving core again.
Yeah.
Started out super hot, right? Had at least 14.9 fantasy points in each of his first 4 games. Had a touchdown, 4 touchdowns in each of his first 4 games. Week 5 was a dud, unfortunately, 4 for 40. Very costly fumble in that game against the Commanders, too, which was really tough. And then he missed week 6 because of a hamstring injury. And we all remember what happened in week 6 because we talked about it nonstop. Is this a week that Ladd McConkey can come out and finally kind of like reinvigorate the things that he can do inside this offense?
Yes.
9 targets, 7 catches, 100 yards, and a touchdown, 23 fantasy points. So now they take on the Colts. Colts have allowed the 4th most fantasy points to wide receivers, but that's like a little bit deceiving because while they've allowed the 4th most, only 3 guys have scored more than 14 fantasy points. It's just like a lot of, they're spreading it around a lot. A lot of guys with like low teens, like low double digits or high single digits. There's not been like a boom game against them. So Mike infamously asked us the question, where are you at on how you're ranking these Chargers wide receivers?
Right.
Coming out of a dud from Quentin Johnston and then a week in which he missed, and Ladd McConkey had a really nice game. Quentin Johnston outside our top 15 for the first time in quite a while. How are you guys approaching the Chargers wide receivers this week?
So we get to, once again, like draft them 1, 2, 3.
Basically, it's kind of what I'm saying. Has that order changed from the last time we had the conversation?
That's for me.
Quentin Johnston, Ladd McConkey, Keenan Allen.
Agreed. Okay. That's it. The only switch for me is the last 2.
Okay.
I'm moving Ladd. I feel like with Allen cooling a little bit and Ladd heating up a little
last
bit,
week.
And also, liking our tweet, which obviously is the motivation he
motivated
needed
him,
to leap over Keenan Allen to go. Yeah, for me, it's still Johnson 1. I think he has I think it's a real deal connection with Justin Herbert and
plus
Herbert
the verticals,
said
which is the
doubt.
explosive plays. If he turns 4 catches into 80 yards, that's possible.
It's not like he's just leading in air yards; he's leading in targets too. Like he's the top target. So. And not to mention a goal line option as well. So I think Ladd and Keenan are close, but I would now go Ladd.
It's also possible that where this actually nets out throughout the course of the year is there are now, 12 weeks left?
Yep.
It's possible that, QJ leads them in receiving yards 5 times. Ladd does it 4 times, and Keenan does it 3 times. And it's like they're very close. And the reality is not that one deserves to be way ahead of the other two, but instead they're all 3 like pretty close to usable every single week.
My lowest ranked one is 21st with Allen. So I'm starting all 3 guys, especially in a game that we expect them to throw more. What we need from them, though, is they need to score more touchdowns. They're not scoring touchdowns.
Got to find the end zone.
One of 4 teams that haven't cleared 2 touchdowns in a game since week 1.
Wow.
So
that's not great.
2 or fewer in every game.
No offensive tackles, no touchdowns. Calculus right now.
And they're using Aronde Gadsden more as a pass catcher. They got to score more to keep these guys up here.
All 3 of those wide receivers just heading into week 7. ESPN consensus, QJ is at wide receiver 15, Ladd is at wide receiver 20, and Keenan is at wide receiver 25. So all 3, I think, are in play this week.
25 receivers.
Yep. All right. Field, where are you going?
We fully expect Puka Nacua to be out. The Rams do travel tonight from Baltimore. They're still in Baltimore. They've been practicing at Camden Yards all week, which is the home of the Baltimore Orioles. They leave for London tonight. Is there any other Ram, not named Davante Adams, that you would want to start this weekend?
Any other Ram?
London game, 9:30, of course, against the Jaguars.
Sure. I'll take Kyron Williams. Mike, who are you going to do?
Yeah, Kyron Williams.
No, I already took Kyron Williams, Mike. You got to pick a different one.
I think if you're looking for obviously, Kanata Mumfield,
of course.
He's a long shot,
but I honestly, it looks like Tutu Atwell's clear to go.
Yep.
So, I mean, he's like your 12-team league flex option. I think that's probably it.
Yeah, Jordan Whittington is a name that I think is at least worth mentioning as well. Now, last season, there were 3 games which no Cooper Kupp and no Puka Nacua. So it's a different dynamic here. There's no Puka Nacua, but Davante Adams will play. In those 3 games, Jordan Whittington went 7 catches for 89 yards on 10 targets, 6 catches for 62 yards on 8 targets, and 3 catches for 28 yards on 3 targets. He did not score a touchdown in any of those 3 games. Worth noting that last week, Puka, of course, gets hurt relatively early in the game, and Whittington goes from playing a lot, which is 62% of the snaps this season, to playing 92% of the snaps last week. So he became a full-time player. His target share last week for Whittington was 15.4% in the absence of Puka Nacua for much of that game. So I'm not sure that I can confidently start he or Tutu Atwell, but we are giving you names in case you're either in the DFS world or playing in a deeper league and you're like, I am screwed, because you could have Puka Nacua, plus you could have Josh Allen and a couple of Ravens and Bills on bye this week.
You know how every coach just seems to have like an affinity for a guy you just don't understand?
Yeah.
Tutu Atwell is that guy for me for Sean McVay, because I feel like Sean talks about him a bunch, and then he doesn't really ever get utilized within this offense in a major way.
Yeah, they've obviously I've been tracking this because I fill out like the top 3 receivers in the wide receiver corner cheat sheet. They basically were rotating Atwell and Whittington between that 3 job. Like
spot?
1 week it would be Whittington, next week it would be Atwell. It's been back and forth. I think what's going to happen here is you're going to see a rotation of all those guys, including Mumfield, Xavier Smith. All those guys are going to kind of rotate in to that number 2 and 3 job this week. So
like it.
We'll see.
All right. Sounds like we only like Davante Adams and Kyron Williams. And if we can help it there.
Those are our lineup
if you can
blocks.
avoid the Rams, you would. If you are desperate, we mentioned 2 names for you.
I'm at 14 on Stafford, so I mean, maybe in a 12-team league, you're streaming him. And,
Sorry, I was thinking more from the pass catchers part.
No, I agree. I just wanted to make sure we added that in there. Yeah.
All right, Mike, give us your second topic.
All right, second topic for me, guys, is how back. He's back a little, but how back is Brian Thomas Jr.? And we did talk about this, I believe, on Wednesday.
Yeah.
But I think he is an interesting
Trending
topic
up.
for sure.
Yep.
Seattle last week, which is a good defense, 8 for 90 and a touchdown. 23 fantasy points, his most since week 17 of last season. His prior season high this year was 12. So he goes from 12 all the way up to 23, a big leap for him. Again, I mentioned this the other day, but his playing time, his target share haven't really changed, but his catch rate has gone from 28% the first 3 games all the way up to 74% the last 3 weeks. The Rams have been good against the pass, 4th lowest EPA, so it is a tough defense, but Brian Thomas is a guy you feel more comfortable starting. That connection has improved with Trevor Lawrence. He's still I take more targets. Like the target share could be a little higher. It's kind of capped at like 24%. Let's get that number a little higher. But for now, he's at least a fringe wide receiver 2.
Feels like you have to continue to trust him after what you saw last week. It'd be tough for me to bench Brian Thomas Jr. now.
But in 10-team leagues, you were certainly considering that.
You
or maybe
were.
you did there
we were
briefly,
considering it.
if you were if you drafted well. But now I think you feel more comfortable putting him in there.
By the way, Liam Cohen noted this week, and I forget exactly the platform. It might have been on one of his press conferences. It might have been a radio spot or something where he said we need to get Travis Hunter more opportunities, first look opportunities as well. Someone track this. He's been saying a lot of these things for like months now, and they have yet to actually bear fruit. So the idea of Travis Hunter maybe taking on a more prominent role does not make me feel any different about BTJ.
No, I think
I'll believe it when I see it.
That affects some other guys, Parker Washington and Diami Brown. It won't affect Brian Thomas. I don't think there's plenty of room
Better not.
for both of those guys. Not to mention Brenton Strange is still out, so they need to. I can see them following through with that and getting Hunter the ball a little bit more, but again, it won't.
My focus team needs it. My focus team is invested in Brian Thomas Jr. We're on the comeback trail right now. People do not call it a comeback when I win the whole dang thing in just
all right, we will see, sir.
Months, I guess.
Would love it though if somebody could go out and like just aggregate what coaches are saying and tell us whether or not they're like accurate or not accurate, or that'd be a thing.
Hat tip.
Coach Speak Index.
Thank you. Yeah, very valuable tool.
All right, my second topic: Harold Fannin Jr. and his outlook against the Dolphins. I'm bringing this up because David Njoku has not practiced yet this week. Missed practice.
Like we know where it's going, right?
Feels like we're not going to have David Njoku, unfortunately. Which, if you've got Harold Fannin, is not an unfortunately. You're actually feeling pretty pumped about it. Last week, Harold Fannin, 10 targets, 7 catches for 81 yards. And that was against the Pittsburgh Steelers, obviously. I said this on Tuesday already, so I'm sorry, Field, you're going to hear a lot of this over again. But as a part of the waiver ad, I said, this is a guy that you need to add off of waivers. He was rostered in under 50% of leagues, and you look at what he's done so far. He's been the best pass catcher in Cleveland, which is crazy.
Low bar to clear, but yes.
Yes, exactly. Leads all Browns wide receivers and tight ends in receptions, receiving yards, and fantasy points. Second on the team in target, behind only Jerry Jeudy. Dolphins have allowed the 4th most receiving yards to tight ends this season. Yeah. Fannin was already tight end 8, even with David Njoku being projected. Have you officially pulled Njoku out of the projections?
I have not, but I will later today. I wanted to see if he practiced today, just because
I would love to notice.
These guys are kind of unique. Sometimes these veterans will not practice and then get a limited Friday and play. So I kind of use instincts on this kind of stuff. So we'll see today, but it's kind of interesting because how high does he go, right?
Right.
How does he? Yeah.
We've already got him at tight end 8. I think most of us now, with how Njoku has been limited to start the practice, we've actually moved Fannin ahead of David Njoku, even though Njoku is also still in the top 10. But where do you go from tight end 8? It's like maybe he's tight end 5. He's a must start either way, especially if there's no David Njoku. Harold Fannin is a must start right now.
Yeah, you have McBride, Ferguson, Kittle back, Laporta, Tyler Warren, and then that's probably like Dallas Goedert's next. So at that point, it kills.
I think he's ahead. It's in that tier.
He's going to project high, though.
Yes,
sure.
Agreed.
Worth noting, just in case, we'll talk about this more on Sunday for sure, because we'll actually have a better look at it. But feels like the first real weather alert game of the season. It's lake effect stuff coming to Cleveland, which is what happens in Cleveland, by the way. But high winds, lots of rain. Probably a bit more concerned about the Dolphins' offense and the Browns' offense, because the Dolphins' offense does actually stretch the field. The Browns are going to run the football a ton, and a lot of short area work for Harold Fannin Jr.
Yeah, what's the line at ESPN bet for Quinshon Judkins carries?
Oh, how many of them?
20s at this point, right? So
that'd be interesting. All right, Phil, give me your third topic, my friend.
All right, pending the health of Juwan Jennings and Ricky Pearsall, is Kendrick Bourne on the radar? I want to throw this one out there to chat, because I've done this previously. I think that Ricky Pearsall with back-to-back DNPs is unlikely to play on Sunday. Still working on that knee injury is Ricky Pearsall. But Juwan Jennings practiced in limited capacity Wednesday and Thursday. I suspect that Juwan Jennings is going to play. Mike mentioned that George Kittle declared himself back for this week. He fully expects to play. How high does Kendrick Bourne deserve to be ranked? Over the past 2 weeks, Kendrick Bourne in week 5, 11 targets, 10 catches, 142 yards, good for 24.2 fantasy points, and he ran a route on 82% of the team's dropbacks. Week 6, 5 catches on 9 targets for 142 yards, 19.2 fantasy points, and he ran a route on 83% of the team's dropbacks. He has a chemistry with Mac Jones. Feels like Mac Jones has a chance to start this upcoming weekend. Bad matchup, though. Atlanta has been really good, as we have seen against pretty much every team so far this season, not named the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, can I ask you a trivia question based on that?
Yeah.
How many receivers have reached 11.5 fantasy points against the Falcons this season?
I'm going to say 3.
2. Right, split the difference.
Dang.
2 so far. They have been very good against that position.
They've been excellent. So is he on the radar? And I think we can agree he's on the radar. Mike has removed Ricky Pearsall from the projections.
Yep.
All right, chat. Ready for this one? For a little vote ski?
All right, here we go. Here we go.
All right. In the War Room League, my flex considerations. Normally it would be, so I have Nico Collins and Roma Dunze as my 2 wide receivers.
Those are pretty good.
I'm almost always starting. My next receiver would be Xavier Worthy.
Worthy or Bourne?
Worthy or Kendrick Bourne. Listen, you dismiss it, but let's see what chat has to say. I'm just curious. I'm just curious what Chad is saying.
Was I supposed to save my vote?
Is there
No,
like
you
a
can vote.
concern
No,
with like Rasheed Rice coming back? He kind of had a down week last week.
2 catches last week. I'm
Yeah.
just, I'm throwing it out there. Kendrick Bourne's been the man in that 49ers offense.
He has been.
What does Chad think via vote? Kendrick Bourne or Xavier Worthy? Anyways, how high do you guys have Bourne ranked right now?
Now, after removing Thursday night, I got to be end of the 30s. So it's got to be, I'm at 35.
35. Okay.
Yeah.
End of the 30s. Okay. He'll be higher for me than that.
Yeah.
I'll be top 30 for me.
Wow, top 30 for
He will be top 30 for me, yes.
Wow, okay. I have him at 42, but that's because I haven't adjusted him since took Pearsall out of the rankings.
Doesn't care about the job.
Wow. Let's dive into some of the let's talk about the injury report here in week 7.
All right, what do you got?
Got a handful of things here. You guys already talked about a bunch of them. We already mentioned Puka Nacua not going to play. You already mentioned all the 49ers field. They're not going to go.
Okay.
Yeah, we could just say that every week.
Basically, all the 49ers are not playing. We do think George Kittle is going to be back. I should say that.
I fully expect to play,
Yes.
what he says. Yeah.
I'm going to dive in. I'm going to save one of them. We got a Bears injury. I think, Mike, you're going to talk about them in a little bit. So I'm going to dive into the rest of them. Bucky Irving, officially doubtful. This is nothing new. We expected Rashad White to be the guy. Didn't practice on Thursday. Rashad White is going to be a top 10 option again this week against the Detroit Lions. Chuba Hubbard, limited participant in practice both Wednesday and Thursday. We already had this Rico Dowdle conversation yesterday.
And Chuba's going to play.
It sounds like he is going to play unless there is a setback that we are not thinking.
Yeah, I think the mindset here, this is, again, we just have to assume common sense here to some extent or put our head in their brain is, Hubbard's not 100%. Let's just, he'll be worked in, but it should be the Dowdle show to an extent. So I actually separated their playing time a little bit more. So Dowdle, I'm a little more cemented in as an RB2. Hubbard, I'm probably leaving on my bench this week.
Okay.
Bless you, Field. Chuba Hubbard, right now, running back 32, consensus at ESPN. Bless you. Rico Dowdle, running back 19. So that's why we have the gap there. Emeka Ibuka did not practice on Thursday with a hamstring injury. Chris Godwin also did not practice on Thursday with a lower leg injury. We do know that Mike Evans, though, looks like he's going to be good to go. He's a top 20 wide receiver against a banged up and suspended Lions secondary, unfortunately.
Yeah, there's going to be some new names when you're watching that game. You're like, who is that? That guy is like a end of bench or practice water on both sides.
On both sides.
On both sides.
Totally.
Yeah, and a reminder, this is a Monday night football game. This is the first of 2 Monday night football games. So if you're going to trust any of these guys, just make sure that you have a couple of things in place.
Huge opportunity for Tez Johnson to generate some more MVP vote.
Yeah. That's
right.
Chance. So I'm pumped for Tez.
Let's talk about the Raiders. Jacoby Myers didn't practice Wednesday or Thursday. That doesn't feel good.
Right now?
What's he dealing with?
Yeah.
A knee injury.
I don't think.
Trade-itis.
Yeah, I think it's get me the heck out of here.
You think that's what it is?
Yeah, I mean, he asked for a trade before the season, and it still,
There's the winds are definitely swirling. There's definitely a lot of buzz around Jacoby Myers being on the move at some point here.
I love him. He's an underrated player. I hope he just goes somewhere where he gets his targets.
Where would you like him to go? Pick your favorite landing spot for him.
I have to think about it more, but I think the one I've seen, I think actually Bill Barnwell just projected him here would be the Giants, which would be a logical fit.
No? Okay.
I think on this, I mean, there's opportunity there for a lot of work, but I'd have to think more about. I haven't put much thought in this.
I'd like to give Drake
do you
May
have 10
another
minutes?
guy.
I have 10 minutes.
Drake May?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to go to the Patriots and go to Drake May.
Yeah, if he's, I mean, it's a trade, so he doesn't have a choice, I guess. But if he's happy to go there, that'd be a good
I'm not asking if he's happy to go there. You're just saying, where do I want to see him?
He'd be very happy to go back.
Anyways, Jacoby Myers did not practice. I'm doubtful. I want to know what Friday is going to look like. If he doesn't go, there's not another Raider pass catcher that you're interested in playing.
On the radar.
Brock Bowers, and you already talked about this with Michael Mayer, doesn't sound like he's going to go this week, so Michael Mayer gets an upgrade. He's a low-end tight end 1 for us. Calvin Ridley did not practice on Wednesday or Thursday. Does not feel great with a hamstring injury. If he doesn't go, Alec Iomanner and Van Jefferson, as we know, is going to score a touchdown. Both of those guys get upgrades, but not for a 10-team fantasy league. Those are like deeper league teams if you need somebody. Terry McLaurin didn't practice Wednesday or Thursday. Again,
practice Wednesday, not Thursday.
Sorry, you're right. And then he had a quad injury, so we'll see how that one works out. Debo did not practice Wednesday or Thursday.
I expect Debo to play.
He's been playing. This has been a thing that Debo's been doing with his heel injury.
I have no idea, McLaurin. I don't know if this was remember last week, Xavier Worthy practiced in full on Thursday and then went DNP. Sometimes teams are just doing this by design, right?
Yeah.
We're going to get you a little bit of work, a little bit of rest. That might be where the Commanders are with Terry McLaurin. We'll keep our eyes on it. I'll check the old Tweetbird machine right now to see where
we're at.
Anything, but
all right, sounds good. I'm going to keep on moving. By the way, Friday is an important day for both of those guys. If either or both of them can't go for some reason, Zach Ertz who right now is a little bit lower in our tight end rankings. I'm the highest at tight end 9. I think he would move into a potential streaming option for you here at the tight end spot.
Yeah,
Again,
for
if
sure.
there's no pass catchers. And then we already know Garrett Wilson is not going to be playing this week. He's doubtful, it seems like, Wednesday and Thursday with a knee injury. Our friend Sam Sherman said that if you have Josh Reynolds, make sure you remember he's a lineup lock in a 16-team AFC East only league.
Yeah.
That came.
That's a good tweet.
Okay, let me,
that was a
let me
tweet.
update my lineup right now there. Yes, we'll see. Again, I could not find anything on McLaurin yet.
Well, it's early. It's only 11 a.m. Eastern time
So
right
we
now.
are hopeful on Debo, only because his recent cadence,
The way
has
this been,
suggested
correct.
this is how it goes. So obviously, always check, because we'll have more information by Sunday morning. But stand by on the 2 receivers in DC.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Last one that I have here is we have a banged up wide receiver in Chicago in DJ Moore that we may need to be able to plan around. Mike did not practice Wednesday and was limited on Thursday with a groin injury. What is your third topic?
Yeah, so it's DJ Moore. And again, we talked about him earlier a couple days ago. Again, we need more target volume. Let's assume that he goes in this game, right?
Okay.
Do you even feel comfortable starting him at this point?
No,
He's
no,
been
no.
between 4 and 6 targets in every game so far this season. Lowest target share since his rookie season at 15%. Being out-targeted by Olamide Zaccheaus this year. We expect more Mark Olsen-Loveland going forward. They're working Luther Burden in. If Burden's on the field, he's getting targeted. So it's a tricky one right now with DJ Moore. He's hit 10 fantasy points once this season. It was a game where he found the end zone.
Yikes.
The only thing I will say, if you're considering him, is they are playing the Saints. This is a secondary
Very
we can take
generous.
advantage of for sure. But otherwise, I mean, I think he's, where do I have him? 42, fringe top 40 guy right now. That's just where we are with DJ Moore. I'd honestly, I'd love it if he got traded somewhere else, because I just don't see a path to him getting back to his ceiling in this offense. There's
Agreed.
too many other players there right now.
Feels like it'd be a lot. He's got it. I mean, he just got that big contract, so we'll see how that works out. However, that's a big
I
one
remain
to be able
very
to watch.
skeptical that he would be traded this year.
We have an update on the poll question that we just recently put out. Who would
Ready?
you rather play this week, Kendrick Bourne or Xavier Worthy? This is a question for Field.
Wow.
57% say they would rather play
Disagree.
Kendrick Bourne over Xavier
Disagree.
Worthy.
All right.
I'm just saying, I just put in. I don't want to board bet. I got way too much to risk here. I have made a
Can I
decision.
board bet the chat?
Yes,
Sure,
you're
go for
right.
it. Yeah.
Yes.
Mike versus the chat. The chat would love that.
I just said, okay. All right,
right,
I'll
let's
board
do it.
bet the
Let's do a
chat.
board bet the chat.
Can someone type it in there? They
Yeah,
just type
I
it
will
in
do
there?
the chat.
You want to be
on
the
behalf
chat?
of the
All
chat.
right.
Yeah.
I say Xavier Worthy will outscore Kendrick Bourne in fantasy points here in week number 7.
And I say that Kendrick Bourne outscores Xavier Worthy in fantasy points in week 7. Short circuiting.
Put it on the board.
Put it on the board.
Oh, that was
All
pretty
right.
good.
Is that the first ever chat board bet?
I think we've never done a chat board bet. That's the first
That
one.
was AI me right there.
Yeah,
Is that what that
sounded
was?
just
I sound like a robot. Yeah.
You did.
I
You
was going
did sound like a robot.
I don't know. AI sounds pretty. It's scary how.
This is what I like. This is what I love about the chat, though, is that I throw a question out there that when I said it, Mike, your initial reaction was almost dismissive.
Straight
What?
dismissal.
Excuse me?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the chat reinforced why I asked the question in the first place.
we'll
You know
see.
why, Mike? I am for the people here. You are for the Sharks.
Sounds like chat.
We'll
knows
see.
ball.
If I'm wrong, then the chat has to sit in this.
Yeah,
seat
all of
next
chat
week.
has to sit in the
All of
seat.
chat.
Mike
is just
is-
here. There's just a machine with chat, and you guys ask them a question, and they just type in their answers.
Trying to think,
All right.
what would be the worst thing that we could take away from Mike for a week? Your computer
His
is in my
computer.
possession for a week. If you
Yeah.
That would be bad for everyone.
That's true.
yeah.
You don't
Can
do it by hand?
You want to
You don't do
update
it.
the projections? You want to handle that?
I do them already.
I'll do the pod Monday and Tuesday. You could sit there and grind through all of the numbers.
That sounds great.
You wanna
I'm
do
trying to think about the worst
Raiders
thing.
return projections.
No, no one wants that. Do you do Raiders return projections?
I do everything. I review returners, kickers, punters, defenders, offense every week. Team level stuff.
Wow.
All of it. Down to the fullbacks and defensive tackles.
Wait, is that why
Long
you don't
snappers?
show up to work on Monday and Tuesday?
Yeah.
I've wondered what you've been doing
Yeah,
those days.
That's what I'm doing.
This whole time.
That's what I'm doing. Yeah.
I assumed lifting weights, but
Wow,
No,
interesting.
I wish I had time for that.
I
Good
know.
for you.
I know. Same.
I had no idea.
So I'm slacking, guys. I'm
Next
slacking.
year. Next year.
Yeah.
All right, let's dive into our starts of the week here for week 7.
Heyo.
I've got a punishment I got to pay off while we
do you
do
want to pay it
starts
off
of the week.
now, or do you want us to, how about Mike and I give our starts of the week?
Here's how it's going to work. I'll tell you how it's going to work, Field. So here's what I've got to do. I lost starts of the week last week.
Yeah.
Technically, we all lost because
We all
all of our
lost,
teams
yes,
were
we
bad, but
all
I was the worst of the worst. I have to put a marshmallow in my mouth every time that one of you mentions who your start of the week is. That means we've got 12 starts of the week. So I'm going to try to have 12 marshmallows and give my analysis at the end of all of this. So
this is great.
This is a punishment for us, too.
Yeah. No, this is great. This is hilarious.
This is very...
I feel like Daniel.
Oh, they're full size, too.
Oh, yeah, they're not mini marshmallows.
No, the mini marshmallows that you put in hot chocolate. You'd have to have like 5. Okay.
Correct.
You got one in there.
Yes, I got one. I'm going to start with one.
Okay.
I'm going to go with C.J. Stroud.
Okay.
C.J. Stroud's a nice matchup against Seattle this week. Back-to-back games over 18 fantasy points, which you love. And when you're looking at quarterbacks outside the top 10, there's only so many options that have decent matchups. So I'm going to go with C.J. Stroud this week.
That's a great point.
I feel like I'm being punished. I hate this.
Go ahead, field your next.
Start of the week. You have like a list right now.
Look, I got a marshmallow in my mouth.
Okay. I'm going to go with my quarterback is Jared Goff.
Jared Goff. Did you see that there was somebody at Never mind. Well, we'll talk about it later. Go ahead. I want to talk as less as possible.
I think there was like somebody at a random life event who was doing a Jared Goff chant. Is that where you're going?
There was correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Jared Goff
at Lions.
We expect a lot of points on Monday night between the Lions and the Buccaneers.
Monday Night Football.
I've got him as quarterback 15 this week.
Love it. Mike, where are you going?
My quarterback is one Jordan Love.
You love him.
Kind of all over the map. Yeah, I do. Yeah, all over the map this year, but 20-plus fantasy points twice. And guys, he has 54 rushing yards and 54 rushing yards and 10 carries over the last 2 weeks. Yeah. He has 88 rushing yards this season. That's more than his season total of 83 from last season. Okay. So a good sign for Jordan Love. Playing the Cardinals, neutral matchup. They've had a light schedule so far, so Jordan Love.
And they're 2-4. Can you remind us the parameters to start the week, by the way, Daniel?
Sure, field. There's a big quarterback outside the top 10.
Yeah.
A running back outside the top 20, a wide receiver outside the top 30, and a tight end outside the top 10.
Okay, here we go. What's your
next pick is J.K. Dobbins.
Is that J.K. Dobbins?
J.K. Dobbins. Okay. You got a decent matchup against the Giants. Double-digit fantasy points every week until last week, in which he had a dud against the Jets. Obviously, he's still the lead back, though, over R.J. Harvey. No question there. Harvey's seen a little bit more passing game work, but I like J.K. Dobbins to get rolling against the Giants.
I mean, a little Gus Edwards-y right now is J.K. Dobbins. It's all groundwork. You got to score a touchdown to pay off. That being said, he's a good runner and probably get 15 carries. My running back is Kimani Vidal. Chargers presumptive, next man up running back. After what we saw last week, he was, of course, much better than Hassan Haskins. They play against the Colts. This weekend, give me Kimani Vidal to hopefully have 15-plus touches and 15-plus fantasy points.
I like that.
Guys, if I lose this week, it's going to be because of this one.
Oh, okay?
Yeah. When I started, I picked him, and then I started looking at the numbers, and I was like, oh, this is a bad idea. Ramondre Stevenson.
Oh, you did it!
Ramondre Stevenson, 18 yards and 13 touches last week, but he did play over 70% of the snaps. Yep. He was bad the prior week, too, but he did score 2 touchdowns and kind of bailed you out. The key, of course, here is the matchup. The Titans have allowed an NFL high 10 touchdowns and the 4th most fantasy points to running backs, 16.5 plus fantasy points to the opposing lead back in 4 consecutive games now. And remember, last time Stevenson had a great matchup, it was Miami earlier this season. He had 21.2 fantasy points. So I'm going to take my chances on Stevenson this week. I'm going to give him a chance.
Okay.
Daniel?
Good. Yeah. Great thoughts right there, Mike.
Yeah. Bad thoughts right there, Daniel. We got nothing. What is wrong with you? We can't understand you.
Yep.
Michael Pittman Jr. We got there.
Michael Pittman Jr. Okay, I like deciphering this.
You need to. This is too many. You gotta stop.
Yeah. For the health and wellness of all involved.
I got to start over. Okay.
Yeah, start fresh.
Michael Pittman Jr. Tough matchup against the Chargers. Obviously, he got a shadow last week, Mike. I believe that was a thing.
Yep.
But Josh Downs looking unlikely to go this week. Right now, he's missed practice each of the first 2 days of
concussion, right?
Practice, right? Yep. Making his way through the concussion protocol. So if that happens, maybe a little bit more Michael Pittman Jr. this week. I'm going to go with him as my wide receiver.
Well done, right there. I'm just going to wait a few minutes while you stuff your face.
Go ahead.
Jordan Addison for the Vikings, who's played 2 games since returning from suspension. One of which he went up over 100 yards. It feels like in both of those games, patience has paid off. Addison started slow. Last time we saw the Vikings, he was suspended for the first quarter because of, I think it sounded like he maybe missed a walkthrough. He wanted to go enjoy London. Yeah. So he missed a walkthrough there. But Jordan Addison, obviously very talented player. I believe Carson Wentz will start this week over J.J. McCarthy, which means Carson Wentz against the Eagles.
Yes, sir.
Jordan was like, wait a minute. I thought you said we were supposed to walk through London. I don't understand.
They said,
walk through in London.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, by the way, It looks like Quinyon Mitchell will play. He'll likely shadow Justin Jefferson. That's good news for Jordan Addison because the Eagles' weak spot in the defense is cornerback 2 right now.
Yes,
They're having a hard time.
Dory Jackson.
I like that. So this is what makes my next one, my receiver. This is where it makes my lineup kind of GPP like because I'm going Matthew Golden. So the other end of the Jordan Love battery. If that's a dud situation against Arizona, I'm going to be in deep trouble this week. But Matthew Golden continues to progress. It's like more every single week. New career high in yards each of his last 3 games, guys. He had 102 scrimmage yards against the Bengals last week. So just kind of quietly over 100 yards. Yet to get to 6 targets a game. That bothers me a little bit. You're yet to clear 6 targets in a game, but does have at least 5 touches in 3 straight. And Arizona should be fine. So that's my guy.
Okay. I'm going to go with my tight end here.
Okay, good answers.
I'm going to do Zach Ertz.
Yeah.
It's
okay. Don't worry. Nice pick on Zach Ertz. So it hurts when you eat so many marshmallows.
McLaurin and Debo both banged up.
Yeah.
Maybe we get a little bit more Zach Ertz in this one. So could be a nice game.
Yep. You're gonna have a tight end from eating all the marshmallows. We can keep
Hold on, don't joke, please. I picked Zach Ertz as well for all the reasons that Daniel tried to articulate.
Sorry, I almost killed Daniel.
I am going to have a tight end from all these marshmallows.
Oh, God.
Don't swallow them.
Bravo by Mike right there.
All right, Mike, where are you going? Do you even get a tight end pick, or do you just have to
say Zach
I talked about him earlier, so Michael Myers.
Oh, my gosh, Michael!
I've never done that till today, and now I've done it twice.
Oh, Unbelievable.
I'm in the season. I'm in the season, guys.
That's so good.
Michael Mayer.
Okay, all right.
Michael Mayer, whatever. Mine was Zach Ertz as well.
Oh, Ertz, yeah, got it.
Daniel,
all right, we talked about
Mayer.
Mayer.
Good stuff there.
Yes, we did. Man, that was. I got to tell you, it's hard. It's a lot harder than I thought because they start to disintegrate in your mouth.
Yeah.
And then it's like I've got to find like pockets to put them in.
You got to swallow.
Yeah, it makes you respect chipmunks more.
Dude, it's impressive. I don't know how people do it. Whoever does all this marshmallow stuff, good on you because I don't know what I'm doing. All right.
That's it.
We got a couple of quick mailbag questions here, very fast here. First one is going to come from our friend at the YouTube chat. Comes from Joe. Dak Prescott or Drake May this week, my friends?
It's such a good matchup for Dak Prescott, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm going Dak. They're both top 5 for me, but Dak against Washington.
Commanders.
Give me that.
Yeah,
there's
Commanders.
a part of me that wonders, like, there's a part of me that fears, like, the Drake May downside is this. The Patriots play awesome offense, but maybe punch it in on the ground a couple of times, and they're up big in the third quarter, and you're like, Drake May's barely passing the ball anymore.
Yeah, if they do that, they're not going to use Ramondre Stevenson, though, right, Field?
I probably will.
Oh,
I wonder if you'll get a little new head coach jolt from the Titans this week, too. A little more energy. We'll see.
Maybe, yeah.
Well, it happens sometimes.
Can't be much. Can't be much worse.
Can't be less energy than what they've had so far.
That's correct, yeah.
All right, let's get another question here from our YouTube chat. This one comes from Daniel Lohr, wants to know, would you start Diggs and Keenan and Michael Pittman Jr., all of them over Rico this weekend? Stephon Diggs, Keenan Allen, Michael Pittman Jr. over Rico Dowdle.
Okay, so if I'm ranking those 4, I would rank Steph Diggs 1.
Yep.
Rico Dowdle 2.
Okay.
Airtight with Keenan Allen there 3. Pittman 4.
Yeah, I have. I could go the opposite with Dowdle just because I'm feeling more confident he'll be the lead this week as Hubbard him not being full in practice makes me think they have every reason in the world to be like, we're just playing it smart. We're gonna let Rico be the 1A this week. I think that makes sense. So, but either way, I think the answer is yes. I would start Dowdle. I would start Diggs, and I would start Allen. Pittman would be the odd man out for me. Remember, they are playing the Chargers, and they've been really good against
Let's say that you had to choose one of those for the flex spot, and you didn't get to pick 3 of them. Yeah.
I do have Dowdle projected highest. I have no issue going with Diggs. It's very close.
Those are my top 2, Dowdle and Diggs.
Yeah, I would go that way.
Only thing that I'm going to say about your stance on the Panthers, which I think is totally logical and totally reasonable, and might be where I lean as well.
Yeah, probably wrong, but all of those things that Field said.
If there's one thing that the NFL reminds us of every single week, it's sometimes coaches treat their backfields in mysterious ways.
Mm-hmm. You're exactly right. We've seen that so many examples of a guy coming in, whether it's Alex Madison behind Dalvin Cook or Zach Charbonnet in years past, in for Ken Walker. We've seen so many examples of those guys like that. Oh, man. Madison was the number 1 scorer.
No way you hold that guy down, right?
And it happens every time. They just prefer the lead back. So you're right. We've seen it many, many times.
I think I align with you. I'm also bracing for any kind of possibility this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Just speaking of running backs, what was it? Thinking of infamous running backs, what did Jonas Gray end
4
up?
touchdowns on Sunday Night Football.
And then what happened? Did he miss practice or late to practice or something, and it became a thing?
Right. Yes.
That was
something like that.
They never played.
And then he never played again after 200 yards. That was a crazy one. All right. Maybe one more question, maybe two more questions. What do you got here for us, YouTube chat? We'll see what else we have available. This one comes from Heart and Soil. Wants to know JCM versus the Cowboys or Tedero McMillan versus Sauce Gardner.
Heart and Soil, I'm going with the running back here.
Me too.
JCM should be busy. The Cowboys' run defense is trash. And yeah, Sauce Gardner has really rounded into form, as Mike told us.
Love a good JCM anytime touchdown play this week as well.
Like that.
One of the highest projected touchdown scores of the week. He scored a lot already, and his role just continues to increase. About 2/3 of the snaps last week. We could use a little bit more in the passing game, but we're getting there. We're progressing a little bit. So, yeah, it feels like JCM's a top 10 play. I want him in my lineup.
Agreed. I'm with you on that. All right, let's do one more, and then we're going to get out of here. One more question from our YouTube chat. This comes from Blake Andres. Wants to know for anyone, why is every ranking so low on Mason Taylor? He'll likely be the 1 or 2 receiving target against a savory Panthers matchup who was bad against tight ends. This is because there's no Garrett Wilson. This is sort of what he's referring to. Doubtful to play this week.
That's fine.
Limited pass catchers. So there's a question like...
That's fine. That's reasonable.
It's a reasonable take.
It's a reasonable take. We're also preparing for the possibility of a better Mason Taylor game last week and what happened.
Yeah, I think there's 2 reasons. One is you saw that passing game last week. I mean, just the downside for that offense. I mean, we hope... if you start Mason Taylor, you're hoping to get, 45, 50 yards? That's what their total passing yardage was last week?
Year. Yeah, or last week.
42 yards for Justin Fields. That's one. Number 2 is... who do you move him up ahead of? I mean, there's so many tight ends in that conversation. If you want to put him 10 over TJ Hawkinson, fine, but then you have Mayer, Ertz, Kate Otten, who we're boosting him this week, Tucker Kraft, who's been awesome, Hunter Henry, Evan Ingram's back now, Kyle Pitts, Darren Waller. I mean, that's the guys that are ahead of him. So, I mean, he's certainly in that top 20 conversation, but it's a lot of the same.
I think the reason why he's not higher is because with some of those other guys, we've either seen it consistently to know that it's something that can happen, or we just feel like that offense is in a better spot to make production happen there, which is not that we don't like Mason Taylor as a prospect.
Yeah.
I think he's a really good tight end, but in this situation with the guys in front of him, that's why he's so low.
I also like this question because I think it underscores an important point that I try to communicate to my friends who ask for fantasy advice all the time. Is sometimes they'll ask me this player or that player, and I'll give my opinion, and they'll come back and they'll say, really? And I'll say, okay, you didn't ask this question because you wanted my opinion. You asked this question so that if my opinion aligned with your opinion, you could use it as validation. Your team, your rankings, your choice. Like if you feel like Mason Taylor should be started over whoever your normal starting tight end is, by all means, go for it. It's a funny game we play. Mason Taylor might have 8 catches for 55 yards on Sunday. Who knows?
Yeah.
As evidenced by the fact that Fields started 2 40-year-old quarterbacks this week, and it happened to work out for you in fantasy.
My options were somewhat limited.
Of course.
Yes,
well, that's the point. If we're limited and you got to start, that's how it is.
Got to do. Yeah. So.
All right, that's going to do it for us today. It was good hanging out with you guys this week.
Always is, Mr. NASA.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
He goes off to Venus after this.
That's right. Well, it is. I'm a big fan of the swoot. The sweatsuit, obviously.
Yeah, no one can see your pants, but you.
No, I got a full. I mean, you're not going to be able to see it. You can't even see it. I got a full. I mean, I got stars everywhere. I wore this because obviously with Joe Flacco under center, Bengals to the moon, right?
To the moon.
Like we all know that. So let's close the show out with that. Today's show is presented by Little Caesars. Make sure you come hang out with us on Sunday. Fantasy Football Now, 10 a.m. Eastern to 1 p.m. We will see you guys there. Don't forget to love each other and be kind to yourself. You deserve it. We'll see you guys on Sunday.